Hey, I wanted to show you a painting I'm working on. It's just getting started, but it's a good example of how I've been starting my paintings lately with this black and white acrylic underpainting. I wish I could build more texture in this initial step, but acrylics flatten when they dry, unless you have molding paste, but that stuff is expensive. So today, we're gonna learn how to make a poor man's impasto painting on...
Sorry about the mess, but let's paint.
Okay, everybody. As you can see, we're using that scrappy grackle in the foreground of that painting as our subject. Oh, and I got my little friend here. Since birds are apparently the theme of the show, I brought Riley to be my studio assistant. That's a good doggy. That's a good doggy. All right, so let's get down to business. Molding paste. Molding paste is essentially marble dust suspended in acrylic medium like this. But real expensive. This was like 11 bucks. So we are gonna make a poor man's version out of joint compound with about a 50-50 mixture of acrylic gesso and joint compound. It's not going to be perfect. In fact, this is the poor man's version. I even like to combine the molding paste with the poor man's molding paste to make a low budget man's molding paste. Let's have a look at that. This is what the poor man's version ends up looking like. The joint compound causes these cracks if you get too thick. This is the low budget man molding paste, and you see it still cracks just a little bit. So I made the upper middle class man's molding paste here, which is 3 parts molding paste and 1 part joint compound. So if you really want to make your genuine molding paste stretch, consider the upper middle class man's molding paste. So let's get started mixing up the business. Got it. A little black. Okay, not too much, not too much. Yeah, maybe a bit more than that. All right. As you can see, I began with a layer of black gesso as my ground. That's because we're gonna have a little bit of fun with sgraffito. More on that in a few. We got a good bit of black gesso poured out there. If you'd like to try and avoid the cracks, then more gesso, less joint compound. It won't keep its elevation or its mass, its impasto texture, as well as the 50-50 mixture. So you'll have to build it up in steps, but I'm just gonna go 50-50 here. And it has to be acrylic because joint compound is water soluble. And of course, oil and water don't mix. Thank you, Riley. We got a good bit of the black mixed. Oh man, this gesso is weird, man. Oh man. Fredericks, what are you trying to do? This is ridiculous. Fredericks, I'm ashamed of you. Alright, that looks good. Mix that up. It's like freaking cheesy whipped cream. Oh, damn. I'm gonna need a little shot of this acrylic medium just to smooth this gross junk out. Alright, we're gonna have to use a brush for that. That's nasty. Yeah. It was cheap. That's why I bought it. I didn't know it'd come out like digested gesso. That's repugnant. What I'm doing in the background is a little bit different. Since this is all about texture, I'm gonna mix some sand into the straight acrylic polymer, and of course we're gonna get the sandy texture, but we're also gonna get the sandy color. That'll be fun. All right, put you. No. I'm sorry, Riley. I'm borrowing your gravel and grit. It's basically sand. Oh, damn, all over the damn place. Damn. A little bit more. Yeah, that'll do. Ugh. So, birds need this to help grind up their food because they don't have teeth. So what they have instead is a gullet that they fill with pebbles and grit. It gets all ground up. And that's how they. I think this is good. And that's the way life works. Get in between them toes. Oh, Riley, you're making this so easy. Is this how you assist? Riley, you're ridiculous. Height. Yeah, buddy. Oh, all over the place. I stole some cigarette butts from my neighbor's driveway, or the street right in front of his driveway, because I wanted to illustrate another neat trick you can do with this really thick acrylic medium, and that's to do like a mixed media. Actually use literal 3D objects. Now I'm gonna paint over that to seal it up. We really need to protect that from the oils we're gonna be using later. Big Un. Darks first. If you're new to painting, that's the biggest first word of advice I can give to you. Go darks to lights. So let's start with the black. It's really important when you're painting to make a mess. So don't be afraid to paint into the areas where it's going to be white, which is especially important when we're trying to build an impasto surface. The more control you try and exert over the paint, the flatter the texture, the surface is going to become. Oh man, I don't think I mixed enough, which is always the case with impasto paintings. No matter how sure you are you mixed enough paint on your palette, well, guess what? You're gonna need about 3 times as much. You gotta be willing to waste paint. Let's get into this white stuff. Where are my lightest highlights? Let's see if I can get that eyeball in there like a pro. Where you at, eyeball? Where you at? Okay, if you're going in that way, then the eyeball's right about here. You're back. Good. And bam. And blam. Enough of these shenanigans. Oh, damn. As I was saying, notice I'm starting with my biggest brushes first, and I'm slowly graduating down in size. This is how you maintain a surface, an impasto surface. And plus, this is just a way to execute the same task with the minimal amount of brush strokes possible. Ugh. Come on, man, you're about to be fired. Oh, you big dumb ass. Okay. I think that's a good time for a break. You're fired. Need a lot more gray than white. One important thing I forgot to mention is that if you're going to be using the poor man's molding paste, you really need to work on a rigid support like wood panel. I would only use the genuine molding paste on canvas because the acrylic will flex, but the joint compound will not. Now, since we're doing a value painting, one thing about acrylics you got to be prepared for is that they are going to dry darker than you applied it. Beautiful, beautiful birdie foot. French fry. French fry. Believe it or not, that's a French fry. Bam. Be a French fry. Whatever. Take my word for it, that's a French fry. Throughout my undergrad experience, I tried to figure out the secret to painting really thick impastos. How do they build a surface like that? Like Wayne Thiebaud. So in grad school I figured out there is no trick to it. You just start by wasting paint. You just scoop that paint up like you're icing a cake. Our grackle in the foreground needs a pupil, and I'm gonna risk getting it in there now. Kinda. This could be a good place to stop. Oh wait, you know what I forgot? I forgot to do some sgraffito. Alright, now sgraffito is really just scratching away wet paint to reveal the dry paint layer underneath. So a good place for that might be, where's a good place for sgraffito? Yeah. Yeah, buddy. Alright. That's really gonna help with my lady grackle. My lady grackle problems. Do feel pretty good about this. It's a sloppy hot mess right now, but we'll tighten it up, I promise. We'll get there, boys and girls. So after all that, I applied a thick layer of acrylic polymer or acrylic medium and varnish to kind of feed it some kind of wetness. Otherwise our oil glazes are just going to stain and we won't be able to move them around. And yeah, so you just squirt it on liberally. Liberally? This boy's a damn liberal. The liberals are coming. Sorry to get political. So after this dries, then we're gonna start the glazing process in oils. I'll see you then, man. Alright, the next step is to glaze color on this thing. If you don't know what glazing is, you can check out this video about the no underpainting glaze. Now, of course, the main difference here is we do have an underpainting, so we won't have to glaze such saturated core shadows to get black. We already have black, and we can actually use the underpainting to get our neutrals because it's got nice brown tones and gray tones. The process is broken up into 3 steps: yellow, red, and blue. So let's do the first step, which is yellow. Bam. First thing I did differently with the yellow step is I'm using yellow ochre in it. So I'm doing a bit of scumbling within the yellow glazing step. You see a lot caked on to the French fries that's nickel yellow. Even on the cigarettes, I gave each of them a little highlight with the nickel yellow, and I'm starting to work on little cast shadows underneath them. Now we just gotta wait on this to dry and then move on to the red step. Second step is red. Zoink. I really love the red step because you can start to hone in on the focus of some of those details without getting too precise about it. That's going to happen in the blue step. And notice how you can vaguely make out the complements of yellow and red in the neutral areas, even though we haven't used any blue yet. That's a good sign that you're doing this right. The blue step is really going to make this whole thing click. So let's see what that looks like. Finally, there's blue. Now you can really see why blue is the most crucial glazing step because all of those core shadows and fine details finally come into focus. And as you can probably tell, especially when you look at the lady grackle in the background, the nature of glazes is to only darken. They can't lighten. But we can use the final step in the overpainting process to pull out more light values, and we can further develop our edges and fine details. Now it's time for the final step, equivalent to scumbles. I'm just going to call it scumbles, but we're going to be laying thick oil impastos over the top of this in a variety of opaque overpainting techniques. Now we're gonna build on the impastos we already have. Those glazes settled into the cracks and crevices and enhanced what we did with the molding paste. But now we're gonna build on top of even that. Let's start turning our attention to those secondaries, starting with those French fries. And I have some cadmium for that. I got some cadmium. Oh, hello. Cadmium medium. Does this work in the shadow plane of my French fry? Give it a little wisp, a little kiss. Drag that just so. This could use a little bit of glow while we're at it. No, here. Glow. Full glow. And I got this neat grayish green that I mixed for the feet. Yeah. Little highlights like right there. Oh man. Okay, that's good, that's good. And the beak, can we do it with this? That'll work. How about a little up your nose, right up there. Remember, this is an impasto still, so we can get some genuine, real life, legit oil impastos in this last step. And then we won't have to call it a poor man's impasto anymore. We can defraud everyone and not even lie about it. Oh, damn it. Oh, crap. Ran out of paint already, man. What did I tell you? What did I tell you? Steve does not lie. Just blasting over Riley's contribution to the painting. Oh, you can still make out his little bird feet here, can't you? Oh man, I'm loving the sand in the underpainting. Just reaches out and grabs that paint off the brush. See, that's the great thing about building a surface. Once you have a surface, it just compounds and snowballs. Alright, well, this certainly turned into a whole deal, but I came to the conclusion that I just need to go neutral with it. But it'll be nice to see all these intense colors leaching through the neutrality in places, kind of like right here. And I'm finding out that a palette knife is a great way to reset the texture. You see, you can really smooth it out and go flat again if you need to rescue an area. Alright, so I finally am finding my way. I think I just need to apply this shadow color and then we'll be ready to call it quits on this one. Boy, the birthing pains that it took to squeeze this painting out, I tell you what. I think that'll do it. Yeah, here we go. Here goes nothing. One last highlight. We'll nip this in the bud. Right about here. Don't breathe. I like it. Bam. All right, I'm happy with this one. I may put some more glazes on top of these once it's dried. And that's really the awesome thing about this process, is that you can really go back and forth between glazes and impastos and they'll keep compounding each other. If you'd maybe like to have this painting, hit me up on stevebreerwood.com. If you like this episode and want to see more, like and subscribe down below. And you can even leave me a comment if you'd like to suggest a topic for a future episode of
Sorry about the mess, but let's paint.
Riley, you're such a cheeky bird.
Let me guess, you're putting this on YouTube.